Hi, I'm Rachel Malone with Texas Firearms Freedom, and I'm here today to talk about preparing testimony for a committee hearing. When you testify on a bill in the Texas legislature, you'll have 2 or 3 minutes to present your testimony. It may be 2 or 3 minutes on several bills lumped together when they're heard together. It's important to make sure you've read through the entire text of the bill so you know what it says exactly and what your opinion is on it. The format of what you'll say at the beginning is something like this. Hi, I'm Rachel Malone. I'm testifying for HB 375. I'm representing myself and Texas Firearms Freedom. And then you'll proceed to give your opinion or statistics or story or whatever it is you have to say. Let's break that down. You state your name for the record. You state your bill and your position on it. So HB is a House bill, SB is a Senate bill, and then the bill number. Your position can be on, for, or against. Let me explain the on. You testify on a bill when maybe you like some parts but not other parts, and maybe you have suggestions for change. So when you testify on, you're presenting those suggestions for change and indicating that if they changed it, you might support it. And for or against are pretty self-explanatory. And you also need to let them know whom you're representing. If you're just testifying as an individual person for yourself, you say, I'm representing myself. If you are authorized to represent another organization, you can list that organization. But make sure you are authorized as a representative. You can't just walk in and be like, hi, I'm a Dell employee, so I'm representing Dell. So I would say, hi, I'm Rachel Malone. I'm representing myself and Texas Firearms Freedom. Now, what are you going to say in your testimony? It's important to obviously read the bill, know your opinion. I recommend you have one main idea you're trying to communicate. Sure, you can say other things too, but make sure you know what that one most important thing is to say and say it well and say it thoroughly. Make sure you know very clearly your beginning and ending. Especially if you're nervous at the beginning, you can have a clean start. And if you run out of time, you can jump to that end and have a nice, clean, positive ending. Speaking of which, don't go over time. You'll have either 2 or 3 minutes and that will be announced. There's a timer. Make sure you keep track of that timer. It'll start changing color, usually 1 minute or halfway through the testimony, and it should start beeping at you and blinking about 10 seconds from the end. And that is your cue to jump to your end and don't go over. If you go over time, it doesn't help you. It just makes you look unprofessional and unprepared. So stop at time and be courteous and respectful of that. And remember that you absolutely have the right to be there representing yourself and your own opinion. They want to hear your opinion. It's useful. If there's a panel, you may be seated at a table with others who oppose you. So be ready for that. Be prepared. It's always fine to respond to others' complaints or concerns with your testimony. Keep in mind, though, that you are addressing the committee. You're not talking to the observers in the room. You're not talking to other people at the table. You are specifically addressing that committee. And usually when you're testifying on a bill, it's because you want to see change happen, right? You want to change a legislator's mind so they can change policy and change law. How does change happen? I believe there are 4 keys to making change happen, and that is importance, meaning, accessibility, and concreteness. So you have to convince the legislators of the importance of this bill or this issue. That means appealing to their mind. This is an intellectual argument. You're going to present statistics or facts. You're going to present logic or rational arguments that can appeal to their mind and convince them how important this bill is and how correct your side is. But you also need to convince them of the meaning behind it, and that is more of an emotional connection. So what you do is you take your facts and you connect them to emotion. You paint a picture of what your facts mean. You give your personal story or your anecdotes or whatever this bill, if passed, would mean personally to you and your family and your friends. Let them see a picture of what this will do. Take your facts and make them come alive. It's also important to convince them of the accessibility. So a representative or senator, they understand the bill process and they should know what needs to happen. But sometimes you can help it to be accessible for them to vote for a bill or to keep pushing a bill along if you let them know that their constituents support it or their constituents might cause them trouble when it comes time for re-election. So make it accessible, help it be easy for them to take that step. And then concreteness. They need to see how concrete of a step it is. Now, they know the bill process again. There's a specific bill here. If all you want them to do is just support it or oppose it, state that plainly. Please vote yes on this bill and pass it to the House floor for a vote, or please oppose this bill. Simple as that. If you're testifying on the bill, make sure that you're not just sitting there bitching about the bill, but you actually bring forward a constructive method they could change it that would be acceptable to you. So let them know, I don't like this specific thing about it, but if you change it in this concrete way, I would appreciate it, and that would be a bill I would support. And it's always appropriate to give those changes in writing too. You can submit written testimony. And that's a good thing, particularly if you have a lot of data or statistics or facts that you want to present. So in your testimony, after your opening, make sure you communicate importance, meaning, concreteness, and accessibility. At least one of those for your testimony, if not a combination of several of those. That's my best tips for preparing testimony for the Texas legislature. I hope that you enjoy your experience and that it's productive for you. If you want to know more about committee hearings, make sure that you check out my video about committee hearings and the process of registering and all that. And thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if this was helpful and like this video. Like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Thanks so much.